All right, so thank you for coming back and coming in today. How are you feeling?
I'm exhausted.
Exhausted.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have class today?
I did. Again, I just felt like, because I couldn't sleep last night. I was having nightmares, and it's statistics class. So on top of having a hard time understanding, I wasn't even there today. That's how I felt. Just felt like I was not even there.
Okay.
Just really tired.
Well, again, thank you for coming back in today and working on this issue that you came to me with last week. Last week, I know you shared quite a bit of information about your history being a veteran of the U.S. Army for 4 years. You've had exposure to some very traumatic events while you were deployed that has caused some significant distress in your life. And your reason for coming to therapy is to try to kind of wrap your mind around it and to work through those symptoms that you've been experiencing. You mentioned you have flashbacks, difficulty concentrating sometimes in school, inability to fall asleep and to stay asleep throughout the night. So we understand that those issues are pretty significant and very disturbing for you at times, and we would like to be able to work with you through those issues. I know you did have some concerns about exactly what the diagnosis is, and as per my supervisor / professor's guidance, it's best that we hold off on a diagnosis until we kind of gather more information about what's going on to get a better, well-rounded picture of what's happening. So how do you feel about everything so far? About that?
No, I actually like that, because I mean, I know I read about it and I'm like, oh, this must be what I have, but I don't want to jump to conclusions. Like, what if it's something different and we don't solve it? So I appreciate that you're, you've talked to your supervisor and you both have decided that's best for me. It makes me feel better.
Yeah, because we don't want to just jump and make assumptions or jump to conclusions without a well-rounded picture and enough background information as to what's going on. So we do, as I said before, we do have a few more tests that we want to have you complete. We'll be doing one today after this session. This session today should take no more than an hour, hopefully. And as with the last session and with future sessions to come, what you share in this session is going to be held in confidence. So it's confidential. With the few exceptions to confidentiality. There's some limits to confidentiality that I shared with you before. Those same limits still apply in this session and in future sessions. So I did have you complete the PTSD symptom scale. Thank you for taking the time out to complete it. So you have endorsed that you are a military combat veteran, as you have already stated. And here you mentioned that you've witnessed someone else be physically injured. You perceive your life to be in danger as a result, and the other person's life was in danger and you were terrified. Some of the symptoms that you endorse here, I'm just going to read some of the symptoms that you checked off here on the scale. But you mentioned that you've been experiencing upsetting thoughts or images about the traumatic event that have come into your head. You've had bad dreams and nightmares that you mentioned. Feeling emotionally upset when you are reminded of the traumatic event. Experiencing physical reactions when reminded of the traumatic event, like sweating, increased heart rate. Trying not to think about the event, so avoiding the traumatic event. Trying to avoid activities or people that remind you of the event. You also endorse feeling distant or cut off from some people around you. Having trouble falling asleep, having trouble concentrating, being overly alert. So those are some pretty significant symptoms. And as I said, that much of what you've shared does seem to kind of hint towards the diagnosis of PTSD. But we would like to, again, get a more accurate understanding. So I've read some of these symptoms back to you that you endorse on the PTSD symptom scale, and I would just kind of like to gauge the severity and the frequency level of these symptoms. So if that's okay, I'm going to go through some of these symptoms again and ask you how often, just think about the last week, over the last week, how often have you experienced these symptoms? So the first is upsetting thoughts or images about the traumatic event. How often would you say you've experienced that over the past week?
Well, I mean, like, it's every day that I wake up because that's what's fresh in my mind because of my dreams and my nightmares. So I would say every day, but like the seeing things around the corner, that's not as often. I'd say that's a couple times a week at best.
So every day. Okay. How often have you had those nightmares or bad dreams about the event?
Every night.
Okay. And you mentioned reliving the traumatic event. How often?
That's only happened twice.
Okay. So twice since you've been out of the military?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it just started with nightmares, and then I would see things every once in a while, like do double takes, and then it kind of progressed into this full blown. I'm back in it. But the full blown thing only happened twice, and there's one time I thought I was gonna start having it, and I kind of like felt like I was literally running away from myself, and I got it to calm down and stop, and I went and hung out with my friends, and we weren't running, and that kind of like cooled me down. But so I guess almost 3 times, but yeah, 2 times where I was full blown in it, and then that's been it so far. So
that was good that you were kind of able to calm yourself and bring yourself down from that by going out with your friends and working out. That's a good coping mechanism, I would say. But could you tell me a little bit more about what the experience was like when you relived and you kind of re-experienced this traumatic event? Do you remember the details of how it happened?
not really. It's actually, now that I'm trying to think about it, it's really hard to remember. I just remember it was like when you watch a movie and all of a sudden the scenery changes because they're like doing this flashback kind of thing. That's what it just felt like. It was flooding in, and I was watching like everything happening. Like I wasn't doing anything. I was just watching. And it's kind of like one of those things where I'm like, whoa, I was frozen for a minute. I need to like get out. I need to get out of this. I need to not be in this little snow globe weird situation. So, I mean, like the couple times this happened, I was just, gripped with like, I was hyperventilating, my heart rate was going crazy, and I felt frozen, stuck like I couldn't move. And that last time I literally turned around and ran into nowhere. I was
what
going.
What did you see when you experienced this? What were some of the images? Do you recall?
I was in the desert, out in Iraq, and there was explosions, and
Okay. All right. So you also mentioned feeling emotionally upset when you're reminded of it. How often does that occur?
Usually it's just when I kind of see things out of the corner of my eye, like it'll kind of grip me, like I'm like sucking my breath, like, and then like I'll feel like really I feel like I'm getting upset, and I don't know if it's because it makes me sad. Those things I'm remembering, but I feel like I'm kind of like sad at myself, like, oh, there it goes again, like it's happening again. I feel just so defeated, like it's not getting any better. So it just makes me feel really down and upset, and then I can't concentrate, and then I just feel really distant, and it's just a down horrible spiral out of control.
What is it like for you now, just talking about it with me? Does it make you feel upset about it, or what kind of feelings do you have talking about it?
I feel myself being very guarded, because I thought maybe that this was the right thing to do, but now I feel like I really don't want to talk about it, and I'm really afraid that I'm going to see something at any moment, and I don't know, I feel really guarded right now, and I can't, slow down a little bit.
So it sounds very difficult for you to even talk about it, and that the possibility of it triggering the reaction, in you, that it's a possibility for you, and that it kind of frightens you.
Yeah, it's just hard because I don't know what's going to set it off. I just feel like it's so random and out of my control, and that's the part I think that frustrates me the most. I can't control it, and I don't know what to do to control it, and that's why I'm here, but at the same time...
It sounds like you're not aware, of what triggers that traumatic response that you experience when you have those flashbacks.
Yeah, there's only one time when it was a loud noise that set it off. Mm-hmm. But then all the ones after that, there was nothing. I felt like there was nothing. Maybe there was, and I wasn't...
out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. That's something that maybe we can work on here in therapy, to be able to be more cognizant and more aware of those triggering factors that happen before you experience